Hello and welcome back to the show, bringing you a brand new podcast today. We're back with the Premier League previews, and I am as excited and as ecstatic as anyone can be. And of course, on today's show, we'll be talking about the Tottenham versus Manchester United game, looking ahead to that fixture, how Jose Mourinho might possibly set up, how Ole Gunnar Solskjaer might possibly set up, our thoughts and feelings surrounding how those two might set up, and what the outcome could be. Of course, this is just fan opinion. This is not meant to be some sort of deep tactical analysis by some sort of experts. We're just fans, just like you. And if you like that kind of content and you're into that type of stuff, hit a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you are new to the channel. So without any further ado, let's get into the show. Gentlemen, how are we feeling about the Spurs game and more importantly, about the Premier League returning?
Oh, my boys. We've all been waiting a long time for this. I am extremely excited. I'm going to binge watch every single Premier League game from today, which is Wednesday, till United on Friday. I just, and on the weekend also, I'll be there. I'm very excited for the Premier League back, but most importantly, to see my boys United play and go smash Spurs on the first game.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a football festival. I've got my Betway account ready, and I'm ready to get action.
Monday's gambling, fam. We got kids in the show, fam. Come on. We got kids in the show, fam. Can't be gambling out here. No, but for real, in terms of confidence levels, how are you feeling going into the game against Spurs? Because, spoiler alert, they lost to Norwich again. That's twice in the season now. Once in pre-season, once in the Carabao Cup. Thank you very much. Or was it the FA Cup? I'm not really sure. But yeah, Fossil Mourinho took the L to Norwich City, but we also took the L to West Brom in one of our friendlies. We beat them in the other friendly. So how are you feeling in terms of confidence levels?
Confidence levels? I think I am dangerously confident. I think I might be too confident. I'm expecting this to be no competition. I expect United to completely walk through Spurs and their fossil football. I don't know why. I just, I think for some reason, I don't know, I'm feeling cool about United. I don't really have a bad reason. I don't really have a reason to feel bad about United or anything really. I know Son and Harry Kane and everyone's back, but yeah, I still don't care. I don't think it's enough for them. But yeah, I'm very confident. And I do think, though, I don't think we'll find the football to be at its top level. Of course, I do think, judging from the Bundesliga and La Liga, that there will definitely not be the proper Premier League, standard that we're used to. But yeah, I still expect United to get the job done.
Fantastic. And what about you, Rita?
I'm sorry if my connection's... I'm sorry if you can't hear me clearly. My connection's quite poor. But like Shinny, I'm quite confident, and I'm not completely sure why. I guess maybe because we got our full squad back, and when we went off, we were on a good run. But in terms of the tactics in this game, I won't go too far into it. Maybe we'll talk about that later. There's a huge question mark on how this game's going to play out. But I don't know. I just have this huge confidence that we'll beat Tottenham.
Personally, I think this I see a drawing coming, to be honest. I'm not going to lie, because
Really?
on the one hand, United fans are confident. Yeah, genuinely. I do see a drawing coming, and I'll explain why. I think we haven't played football in nearly 2 months, and the Manchester United we saw when we were in form, when Bruno first got here, and the Manchester United we're going to see now is not going to be the same. I think there's going to be a lot of squad rotation, not just with Manchester United, but every single team in the league, because there will be a lot of injuries. I don't expect to see Paul Pogba and Rashford playing, because Paul Pogba hasn't played football in nearly a year now. So I doubt he's fit and he's ready to play a full 90 minutes. And if he does play this week, he'll probably miss out next week. I think Rashford, there's question marks around him. I think he will play, but I don't think he'll be at 100%. I think there's question marks around Martial, because Martial's very inconsistent sometimes. And whether or not he can pick up where he left off, huge question mark. I love Tony Martial, but Tony hamstring Martial has tendencies of getting hamstring injuries around this time of the season. And I don't think that'll be any different. And, otherwise there isn't really much reason to doubt. But on top of that, what I would also say is that Mourinho is not a mug. Mourinho would have been preparing for this game for a very long time. Mourinho would have learned from his mistakes and will want to win. And I think Mourinho with the full Spurs squad is a lot more dangerous than Mourinho who just got there in the middle of a season. So that's where I'm at. If we didn't have this preseason break, I'd be so confident, because I think if Spurs had continued their season, Harry Kane and Son coming back wouldn't have made a difference, because they would have just picked up more injuries and they would have just been more inconsistent. But this break has given everyone a chance to reset mentally. That's what I'm worried about.
It's a leveler. It's definitely a leveler for everyone.
Yeah, I think people will be off. And I think Ole might not start all of our big hitters, but I think he'll start a few, because we've seen his track record, and he tends to throw players into the fire right off the come from injury or something. But I think we will win this game in the midfield, because I think Tottenham struggle in the midfield, and if they're going to be playing a counter on transition, they're really going to struggle.
We'll just have to wait and see how Tottenham play. We'll just have to wait and see. I don't know. I don't think Tottenham are going to win this game. I just don't think I don't see us losing this game. I just think it might be a draw. That's all. I think we'll either win or draw. I don't see us losing.
For Mourinho, a point will be very good for Mourinho. I think for United, for what we want, top 4, top possible top 3. I think every game from now is like a must-win for us, because I think we're going to need every point we can get in terms of where we need to be in the league. So yeah, and I think with Tottenham, I think Mourinho, he would try play for a draw. I think he will try to. He's normal. Sit back a lot, be tight, be disciplined, be strict. Yeah. Don't let anything come through. It'll be up to Oli and United to find the solution to that whole problem,
exactly,
and not fall asleep when they get the ball and count.
The United I've watched in the last 7 years cannot break down a team like that. I'm just saying. If Bruno is not going to be playing next to Pogba, the United I've been watching cannot break down a Spurs that's just sitting back, especially a Spurs that's been preparing for months. That's all I'll say, with regards to that.
That is my biggest one. I think we saw earlier in the season that it was a game with two teams playing counter-attack. It was counter, who can counter better, and we won that game. But I don't know if that's the best way to go into this type of game. I think if Spurs, you have to give it to them, because they're gonna play for the draw. Mourinho's going to play for that 0-0. So I just think we have enough firepower, honestly, and I think we're gonna overload them in the midfield.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see if Fred can pick up where he left off, if Matic can pick up where he left off, and whoever else is starting. I trust Bruno. It's the other guys in the team that I don't trust, to be honest. I trust that Bruno will hit the ground running, because I've seen him hit the ground running before, and I have evidence to suggest that Bruno doesn't need games to get into a rhythm as much as some of our other players. But I've seen our other players come back from injury, and I've watched United, in particular this group of United players, for 18 months now, and I don't know. If Pogba doesn't start next to Bruno, I don't know. I really don't. We'll just have to see. I hope we can break them down. I doubt it. If Sancho didn't start after missing 3 months of football, what makes you think Paul Pogba is going to start after missing a year of football? Does he have some sort of genetic advantage over Sancho?
I don't know, honestly. It's just a hunch. It's just from seeing what Ole has done in the past, I just have a feeling that Rashford and Pogba might start.
Well, what Ole's done in the past is to save his job. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in this Tottenham game is not playing to save his job. He's playing for the future. And it would be very ill-advised of him to go out and throw Pogba and Rashford and pick up 3 or 4 injuries in the first game just because he wanted to beat Spurs, like it's a game that matters the most when it doesn't. I know we need every point, but Leicester are going to drop points. If you look at Leicester's games, I don't think Leicester are going... Actually, I think Leicester are going to pick up where they left off, because they were crap before the COVID-19 started. I think Leicester will lose at least 3 of their 8 games, and that will give us... Oh, and one of the games is against us. So I think we'll beat Leicester, and they'll lose 2 other games, and that will bring the gap down to, 1 point, I think, between us and them, because it's an 8-point gap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we draw this game, we beat Leicester, and they lose 2 other games, that drops the gap to 2 points. And I think because of that, we are in a position to make top 3. But it's whether or not we can rotate our players smartly. But look, I like, I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. If you are expecting Paul Pogba, Rashford, Martial, Bruno to all start consistently over the next 9 games, you're being naive and you're fooling yourself, because the Bundesliga was the perfect example of how fitness levels were a serious issue. And the Premier League is going to be no different. In fact, the Premier League might be worse because of how demanding the league is. And these players have only played one friendly. So, I don't know. But, maybe I'm Debbie Down.
I'm not saying from any technical point of view. It's just really a good.
Yeah, I didn't hear what you said.
I feel like if we look for why this game is so important, if we win this game, you didn't get me. I'm sorry. All I'm saying is that if we win this game, you come back, beat Tottenham, and look at your fixtures. I mean, I think we'll after that we might go on a really good run.
Yeah, obviously.
What I will say though is that they are allowed more subs, more players on the bench now. So I think we will see everyone play. I think we'll see a lot of changes going around, a lot of rotation going around. So it'll just be about what Oli wants to do and what Oli thinks is best for United to get the results we need.
Yeah, that's not necessarily a good thing, because that means we could see Lingard start. And don't forget, the Europa League might be coming back shortly after the Premier League season, or at the same time as the Premier League season. So that's going to be a huge factor as well. I still think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will fancy lifting the European Cup and qualifying for Champions League that way, rather than risking 4 of his best players to try pick up dubs against teams who are just playing, like, if you play FIFA, you'll know what I'm talking about, playing a one-depth drop back with 12 players in the box, FIFA 20 style, boring FUT football, fam. That's what Mourinho plays when he wants to draw anyways. So I honestly think that could be a huge factor. We've still got FA Cup as well. If the FA Cup returns, I will gladly watch Lingard play in the Premier League and take the FA Cup and the Europa League in the current circumstance. Gladly. Your top 4 can get out. I'll put it in the trash right there, in that black bin, if I could, in exchange for the FA Cup and the Europa League. Gladly. I would gladly do that. I don't know about you guys, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, as a fan, I never want to say like you throw one thing away. Like, I want to do well in everything, which it's not realistic. But yeah, I would like to still see us putting an effort into the league and trying to get top 4 that way also.
I hear what you're saying, but personally, no, not for me. I think with the Europa League, it makes sense, I guess, because you get Champions League, so it really wouldn't matter in that case. But I really want to make top 4.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's possible. I think, unpopular opinion, I think Chelsea will finish 5th, because I think Chelsea are young, inconsistent, inexperienced. They've never been anywhere near a situation like they are in now. Well, all of us haven't, to be fair. I think Chelsea was very inconsistent before the break started. I think they will be inconsistent now, even more inconsistent now, because those players who were in a difficult period have to now find a way of getting back to the form that they were in before the lockdown became a thing, right? I think some of our players are better equipped with that. I think Paul Pogba has an understanding of what it's like to come back from an injury, or what it's like to sit in the recovery room for a few months and then come back. Martial's been there. He's been in the recovery room for 3 months, and he's had to come back and make a return to Old Trafford and proves that he's still the striker. Rashford's been there. Bruno might not have been there, but Bruno he just exudes confidence, so I trust that he'll be able to do it. There's so many players in our team that have proven that they can bounce back from injuries. I mean, Luke Shaw. Look at what Luke Shaw has done to turn around. He's the way people view him at Old Trafford. I mean, that performance against Liverpool, after being ridiculed so much for eating McDonald's during his recovery time, is impressive. I haven't seen that from the Chelsea players, largely because most of them are new and young and inexperienced. And they have an inexperienced manager who plays beautiful football, but at the end of the day, beautiful football ain't going to get you top 4. Beautiful football with wins is going to get you top 4. And I honestly, maybe I'm dangerously confident in that regard, but I don't see both Chelsea and Leicester finishing in the top 4. One of them is going to drop out. And if it ain't,
I think one of them will drop out. I think one of them will drop out, at least one.
So yeah, I'm confident in that regard. I'm very confident in that regard. But we'll just have to see, man. So let's get into the predicted XI.
Now, before I show this, it's going to be very tough. It was a tough decision trying to make my prediction 11. I just did it purely on what I've seen personally, and also a little bit of what I would try go and do. It won't probably be anywhere close to what Ollie will do. I have no clue what Ollie will do. Only Ollie knows that, and we'll have to see. But this, I think, overall is what I could come up with. So now, and I'll explain a few of these decisions here. The Greenwood at right wing, I think, is because Ollie can have more on the bench, and we would want to bring on James later on. Maybe because it'll be a better a super sub, because people will be tired and fitness levels will be low. And I think Greenwood has really been impressive in recent training, and I think Ollie would maybe try favor Greenwood, and he's been speaking highly of Greenwood. I think Pogba will start also because Ollie, again, he speaks so highly of Paul Pogba, and this is an opportunity to play Paul Pogba, and in a game like Spurs, to play Paul Pogba and Bruno next to each other will probably be the key part for us winning this game. And then the crucial one there is also Fred keeps his spot, is because I think that Ollie also, again, he might think that, Fred has been one of our best players of the season and he doesn't deserve to be dropped. So yeah, I don't know what you guys think about that. The only worries here I have is Luke Shaw in terms of fitness, because again, his history does show that he does slack off a little bit. But, other than that, I've got no issues.
Massively naive, in my opinion. Massively naive. I don't see all four of those that square on the left-hand side up front. It's not going to happen. Mark my words. And hey, if I'm wrong, you can pull this clip up and send it to me. I'll gladly eat that humble pie. But I am telling you now, Paul Pogba ain't starting. And if Paul Pogba's starting, Rashford ain't starting. And if Rashford's starting, Martial ain't starting. One of those three is going to miss out. I can bet money right now, especially Paul Pogba, because he hasn't played in a year.
I agree with everything but Greenwood. I think Greenwood is right for this type of game. I don't think I'll start him. I think it'll be Dan James. But everything else I agree with.
I don't know. I just feel like Marcus thinks it is naive, but I don't I don't know. I think Ollie would do it for some reason. But then again, I would think Ollie would not play Paul Pogba again. I think Ollie can do anything.
It's not about what Ollie's going to do. It's about whether or not the players are fit. If you watch the Bundesliga, and you have like half a brain, why was Sancho so bad? Was Sancho bad because he's a bad player? No. Was Sancho bad because he's out of form? Maybe. I can tell you what, Sancho put on a few pounds and he was massively unfit. Why? Because he hasn't played football in 3 months. What makes you think that Paul Pogba has done something different in the last year, including lockdown, to the likes of Jadon Sancho and a few other players in the Bundesliga as well? Because I remember Erling Haaland not starting in one of the games. He obviously started when they returned, but one of the games he had to miss out. And a lot of Dortmund players, actually. I could make examples Bayern as well, but I didn't really watch them as much. It's a fitness thing. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has proven in the past that he's willing to do whatever it takes to save his job, right? But he's not playing for his job at the moment. He doesn't need to go and risk Paul Pogba. It's not off the back of a Burnley loss 2-0. It's off the back of 9 games undefeated in unprecedented time with 3 months of no football. He won't throw his best players and all his eggs into one basket, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't do that. The proof of that is when he switched to a 5 at the back, so he didn't have to play all 3 of his attackers at the same time because he didn't have anyone off the bench. He changed his system to accommodate the depth he had. He played Lingard. He would rather play Lingard and Pereira than start Greenwood, Martial, and James when Rashford is injured. That just shows that he's not an idiot and he wouldn't risk it. So I really don't see how Paul Pogba, Marcus Rashford, Tony Martial, and Bruno are all conveniently ready to play football, and have all conveniently done something different to every other team in the world, especially considering our training, our track record with our medical team and our fitness coaches, our fitness staff. I don't think we're anywhere near ready to play our 11 best players. And if you that is partially my opinion, but just look at the evidence. Like, just go back and watch some of the Bundesliga games. Why wouldn't you start Sancho if you're the Dortmund coach? What other reason, other than fitness, wouldn't you start Sancho? So, but we'll see. Maybe I'll have to eat humble pie.
We'll probably all be great. If I have to look at it from a logical point of view, I think the person who won't start will be Pogba. We'll probably see Matic and Fred, but I have a feeling Rashford will probably start because of the goal threat.
One of them will. And, our front three is so crap that Rashford probably has to start, to be honest.
Yeah,
So,
I
can see
think as much as I'm saying as a gut feeling, a lot of it probably is an emotional thing. I think a lot of us United fans want to see this starting 11.
Yeah, I would love to see the starting. If I got a chance to see the starting 11, I will eat that humble pie. I will gladly apologize for this rant, if I see that starting 11. I want to see the starting 11. I think this is the right starting 11. But I know my club. I've been watching them for 7 years, and I know they don't always do the right thing. And it's unprecedented.
I know, but that's what I said before. Like I said, this could not be the team. I admit, I'm like, this could not possibly be the team. He could do anything. Oli has to make a decision. But this is what.
And I don't see Matic being 100% fit. So if he does start, I think he's actually going to cost us, because it's not easy to sit out for 3 months at the age of 31 and keep your fitness up. If Sancho can't do it, what makes you think Matic can? I don't know. Tough times, honestly.
I'm very worried.
I think we might see Matic start. We might see Matic start, but not play the whole game, and see Pogba come in the second half. But I wanted to ask, why Lindelof or Bailly?
Because I think just Oli has a favoritism towards Lindelof.
And I mean, if you want the proper answer to that question, 17 clean sheets, second most clean sheets in Europe, by the way. PSG's ahead of us because they play in a Farmers League, and we're tied with Liverpool in terms of clean sheets in all competitions. That's why Lindelof and Maguire will probably start. And Bailly will probably play the odd game here and there because of fitness, and because if Maguire plays all of these 9 games plus the cup games, Ollie's mad. There's something wrong with him.
Definitely.
And Lindelof. Both of them together in the same team for the next 9 games, plus the cup games. He's got to be insane. Like, he's lost it. So I think the reason why Lindelof will start is the same reason why Fred will start. Not because he's better, but because this season, they don't deserve to be dropped. What has Lindelof done wrong? He hasn't done anything wrong, really. In context.
So do you think besides De Gea, does any player on this pitch will play every game?
Possibly
every game.
Possibly Bruno. But
all of the 9 games.
I think Wan-Bissaka also possibly.
Yeah, Bruno and Wan-Bissaka possibly.
Yeah.
And De Gea and League on. Yeah, bro. Yeah. But you said besides De Gea. So yeah. I think Bruno and Wan-Bissaka are the favorites.
Yeah. But I can easily see Williams getting subbed on for Wan-Bissaka.
Oh yeah, I forgot you can play that side. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was
about to say it's a difficult one for Wan-Bissaka because Williams can come in for sure.
Yeah,
well, Dallo can still come on for Wan-Bissaka.
Look, with the amount of subs on the bench, right? Everyone, you can make up your own mind about whether the sub regulations are a good thing. Personally, I don't think it's a good thing for Manchester United, because I think we'll see Lingard, we'll see Dalot, we'll see Pereira play a lot of games over the course of the season if we stay in all competitions. And that's not a good thing. But at the same time, what are you going to do? You need to rotate your players. So if Bruno and Wan-Bissaka do start, which I think they will, most of the games, all I will say is that they probably won't play a full 90 minutes. And we'll have to sit and watch Lingard run around for 45 minutes next to Pereira and Dalot.
I don't mind Dalot. I'm not popular opinion, but I really don't mind Dalot. I think defensively he's quite bad, to be honest. But if we're playing against a team that's going to sit back, like one of the smaller teams, and he's covered by Lindelof and Maguire, I think these offensive side can be a huge threat.
In any other scenario, I would agree with that. But Dalot is just like Pogba. He hasn't played in so long because he was injured before lockdown, if I'm not mistaken. And But
I mean, if he plays here and there, I don't mind.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, if he plays here and there within.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. And and like I said, I would agree with you in any other circumstances, but I don't know. You know, like I'm really don't trust this United team. Besides that square on the left side up front, Martial, Rashford, Pogba, and Bruno, I don't trust the rest of these players because I've never seen these players come from a horrible preseason and hit the ground running. And I don't trust Pereira. I don't trust Lingard. I don't trust Delo. I trust Greenwood, but I don't trust Dan James because even when he has a run of games, he's inconsistent. Imagine when he hasn't played football in 3 months, when he hasn't touched the ball, and he hasn't touched a game. Like I don't know. I have massive trust issues because this United team hasn't earned my trust. This United team is the same United team that was fully fit and lost to Burnley at Old Trafford. This United is the same United team that had Paul Pogba and lost to Watford. This United team is the same United team that went on a high to beat Spurs and City and then lost the very next week. So imagine how much more inconsistent they're going to be when they haven't played in 3 months. And the only games they played, they lost one of them to West Brom. They lost one of them to a championship side, by the way. We're memeing Arsenal on the show last week for losing to Brentford. These guys that you're looking at here on this team sheet, they lost to West Brom. So make up your own mind, but I do not trust this team. And I trust them to make top 4, but I don't trust them in this to hit the ground running against Spurs. I really don't. And I hope I'm wrong. I pray that I'm wrong. Actually, I'd love to be wrong because I want United to do well. But my heart has been broken too many times in the last 7 years. It's been stepped on and just grinded into the floor by some of these players. And I actually...
Well, I feel like you didn't take the West Brom.
Sorry?
So why do I feel like you didn't take the West Brom loss very well?
I didn't, because we lost a preseason friendly to a championship team. That's what Arsenal do, not us. That's what mid-table teams do, not us. We don't lose to Norwich, a team in the relegation zone. We don't lose to those kinds of teams. I don't take it well, because if people are saying Paul Pogba on his days world class, and there's no reason why he shouldn't start when he comes back and hit the ground running because he's a fantastic player, but he can't beat West Brom in a friendly. What's going to change between the friendly and Spurs? What's going to change between the friendly and the team that loves to play drop back football with 12 in the box?
But the team that did beat West Brom did have Paul Pogba, Bruno, and Andreas in it. So we had a strong team.
They smashed West Brom 2-1. Oh, wow, I forgot. We played so well in that friendly. Sorry, excuse the sarcasm, but fair play. They won 2-1, but still, are you really going to look at a 2-1 win against West Brom in a preseason friendly and go, that's a good result, even though we only played 60 minutes. That gives me confidence against Spurs, even though we only played 60 minutes and then lost the second game or the second half, whatever you want to call it. However they scored those weird preseason games. I mean, to only beat West Brom 2-1 suggests that you could only put away 2 chances in a full hour against a championship side. That doesn't make me feel good. Manchester United should be beating West Brom, so that doesn't give me any sort of reassurance. And if I sound like a Debbie Downer, I really apologize, but this team needs to win my trust back.
Look, one can say we didn't play a full team, so that's a positive. And yes, we should have beat West Brom, probably in both games, but I don't think West Brom is a team we should be thrashing, because West Brom are a really, really good team. Championship-wise, they're the best team, so I don't think it should be a team that we should be thrashing.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. You say we didn't play a full team. We're not going to play a full team against Spurs, Chief. Mark my words. We're not going to play a full team against Spurs. And if our half a team can't beat West Brom properly, it doesn't give me confidence. And I don't think we'll lose to Spurs. As I said, I don't think we'll lose to Spurs. But I do see a draw incoming because I don't see us breaking down Spurs enough times to put away the chances without getting lucky if we don't play Pogba and Bruno. And I don't think we'll play a full team. And look, again, I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are. But I don't think we'll play the full team. If we are going to play the full team against Spurs, why didn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer start Pogba and Bruno in the same team to try something? Then against West Brom.
I would assume it's... Okay, did not play in the same team. I heard he did. Or am
They
I
did
wrong?
play. They did. They linked
Pogba
up.
and
They played in
Bruno.
the same team.
Yeah, they played in the same team.
Who
Yeah.
played next to them though?
Pereira.
Bingo,
Interesting.
bingo,
Interesting.
bingo.
Look, I feel like he did that because he wanted everybody to get minutes because it was a preseason to get fitness up. So he wanted every single player to play. That's why we played our strongest team and we also played a pretty weak defense. So I think he was trying to mix and match and get everybody to get some minutes.
That's even more concerning in my opinion, because that just shows how unfit we are. That we can't use the opportunity to try out tactics. Instead, we're using the opportunity to get our fitness up. And I don't know about you, but the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer I've been watching isn't a tactical genius. Yes, he's beat Pep 3 times. I think it's 3 times. Yes, he's beat Lampard 3 times. Yes, he's beat. Actually, he hasn't been Klopp. What am I saying? He's beat a few of the traditional top 6 sides, right? But this is the same man who lost to Arteta. This is the same man who lost to Burnley. This is the same man who lost to Watford. This is the same man who's at the worst Premier League start in history. So, for our club at least, since the last 30 years. So, based on the evidence that was presented to me when the season was going as normal, and based on the evidence that was presented to me in those 2 friendlies, I have serious trust issues, and I hope I get proven wrong. Please. That's my only wish for Friday. But, it is what it is, dude. And also, the thing is, right, if we're going to be that much stronger with Pogba and Fernandes, I think we have to give Spurs a little bit of respect. Not too much, because I still think we can beat them with their full 11. But when they have Son, Kane, Bergwijn, and all their other players, they won't have Dele Alli, of course, but some people think that's a good thing for them, because some Spurs fans hate Dele Alli.
Yeah, I also think it's a benefit for them.
I disagree.
So you see, so some people think Dele Alli missing out is a good thing. Some people think Dele Alli not playing is a bad thing. Whatever you think, Spurs have a strong team, and we know what Spurs can do when they have a strong team. Yes, Mourinho hasn't had the best start. Yes, Mourinho plays fossil football, and I don't back him. But he's coming up against a team that lacks creativity, and the only reason they're 9 games unbeaten and the only reason their season is looking half decent is because of one signing. Let us not forget what this team was like before Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah,
God forbid Bruno Fernandes gets into a bad tackle, and because of the lack of game time, he gets injured. God forbid that happens.
Reality could
It's
smack
over.
United fans hard in the face on Friday. Things like that.
It will. Mark my words, bro. It will. Mark my words.
We could be sitting here on Friday night on the reaction, talking about how nothing has happened, and we're here with the 0-0. Or we're here with the 1-0 loss.
If we drew to Spurs, I wouldn't have the attitude of nothing has happened and nothing has changed. I will have the same attitude I have now. We're unfit. We have a lot of unfit players. We have a lot of inconsistent players. We're in unprecedented times, so we have to be fair to every manager under those circumstances. I expect us to make top 4. I don't expect us to beat Spurs. I don't expect us to lose to Spurs either. I expect us to draw, and then I expect us to pick up our form slightly. I expect Leicester to drop badly because of how hard their next 3 games are. If not them, Chelsea to drop badly. And then I expect us to clutch it up in the last 5 games of the season. Because the first 3 games of United, I'm going to be sitting on the edge of my seat, praying that we don't concede and go a goal down, or praying that Bruno doesn't get injured, or praying that luck works in our favor. And I just think, if it wasn't for the Bundesliga, I wouldn't have this sort of attitude. But when I watched the Bundesliga and how flat Dortmund looked compared to before the season got, well, I don't know what the right word is, stalled, I guess. The way Dortmund played against Bayern and the way Dortmund played against, who did they play before Bayern? Schalke, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I just watched the first game.
Schalke. What's the team's name again? Wolfsburg. Schalke or Wolfsburg? One of them two.
Yeah, one of those two. The first 3 games of Dortmund, that was not the Dortmund I know. And you could tell that fitness wasn't just an issue for Dortmund, but all the teams in the Bundesliga. Not to mention the fans, the lack of fans at the ground, which might be a factor also that we haven't spoken about. But anyways, I just think when you factor in all of those things, it's unfair to say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a crap manager because Manchester United didn't make top 4, when really, what could he have done? because you cannot deny that before this lockdown, Manchester United were genuinely picking up form. You can't deny that. The game against Watford was really good.
We were looking unbeatable. We were looking unbeatable.
Yeah, genuine.
It looks like no one could beat us.
And it was because of one guy, the finishing puzzle, right? And I just think that whatever happens for me, we have to clutch up the Europa League. Whatever happens this season, we have to clutch up the Europa League. That would be for me a good measuring stick, because I don't expect us to beat Premier League, to win nine out of 9 Premier League games after having not kicked the ball for 3 months and having one of our star players who hasn't played in a year. But I do expect us to beat teams like Lask. And I do expect us to have an advantage over teams like Lask in the Europa League. Like, there's no excuse why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should not win the Europa League. Because our training staff, our medical facilities, our resources, our revenue, our coaching staff should be much better than some no-name European side that really was in crap form before the lockdown even started and will be in crap form when it resumes. And that's where I'm at, right? But yeah, I don't know. I think I've said everything that I need to say with regards to that. Is there anything else you guys would like to touch on?
Score predictions.
That is true. What is your score prediction?
For me, I'm gonna stick with my guts. I'm gonna say 2-0 United.
Fair.
Soup. I'll say 2-1 United.
That's fair. And look, the only scenario, okay, actually, this is a question for you guys as well. What scenario do you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer deserves to be sacked within the next 9 to 12 or to 16 games, dependent on whether Europa League and FA Cup comes back and we stay in? And I'll go first. The scenario I see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer not being good enough is, and I know I just said it's unfair to judge him on this time, but let's not forget the start here to the season. If he does not win the FA Cup, does not win the Europa League, and fails to make top 4 because of a clear lack of tactics.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we judge that, because if Pereira is starting next to Bruno, and for some odd reason Lingard's playing at the same time because Pogba picked up a hamstring injury, and Fred just, I don't know, had dead leg quad for argument's sake, and Matic was just too unfit to start. Like, that would be harsh, but how else can you be with Manchester United? We should be harsh on our managers. If he doesn't win the Europa League, if he doesn't win the FA Cup, and doesn't make it deep into those tournaments, in other words, doesn't make a final, because it's really just 3 games to the final for both competitions, and he doesn't make top 4, especially if Leicester and Chelsea drop points, I think he deserves the sack. Especially if those 2 teams drop points. If Leicester drop points and Chelsea drop points and we still lose, I'm going to pull my hair out.
If he bottles all these current objectives, if he doesn't get to his top 4, he doesn't win the FA Cup, he doesn't win Europa League, I would sack him. But and if it's because of his decisions and his tactics, I think he does deserve to get sacked. But even if he did all those things, there's a part of me that says they won't sack him.
Probably not.
There's a part of me that says no matter what happens, because of this whole scenario that we're in now, he's not gonna get sacked. Unless, of course, he loses every single game that he plays from now till then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a weird answer. Look, if you'd asked me a few months ago, I'd definitely say if he doesn't make Champions League, like,
we'll sack.
But I think Champions League will be a big talent point. But within the league, it'll depend how it doesn't make it. If we win most of our games, but Leicester and Chelsea have been outstanding, and we don't make Champions League, but you still see that we're going in some direction, I would keep him, because I'm starting to like the idea of him being manager, and I think he's the right person for it. But if you bottle the league, don't win the Europa League, definitely needs to be this.
Hey, Baba, hey. If Leicester drop points and if Chelsea drop points, we have no excuses to make top 4.
Yeah, then you have no excuses.
And we have no excuses. If Leicester lose 3 or 4 games, and this guy does not make top 4, and he still bottles the Europa League, you know what? I'm done, fam. I'm done. I'm honestly done. Especially with the Europa League.
I understand. But if Leicester and Chelsea go and win like 7 or 6 games out of 9, or 7
No.
out
Yeah,
of
that's
9
fine. That's
is
fine.
more.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
that's fine.
That's fine. I'm just saying, if Leicester or Chelsea dropped points massively, and Sheffield United didn't pull some miracle run of games, and we failed to make top 4 with our strongest team, by the way, and then we still lost the Europa League because this guy thought, oh, top 4 is more respectable than the European Cup, and that was his reasoning for putting more effort into the league, and we pick up injuries and things just go wrong, I'll be a very upset person, you know. I still think that you have to take advantage of your best route into the Champions League, and at the moment that is the Europa League because of how bad the teams are in the Europa League, and how good we've been in the Europa League, even in our darkest times.
I feel like if whether the Europa League is coming back is not clear, I'll understand him playing first team.
Definitely. I mean, you can't rest players when there's no games to rest them for. Definitely, obviously. So we'll just have to see how the season plays out. But I've got one final thing to say. Yeah.
And I was just gonna say, and Ollie's got he's got to make big boy decisions starting with Friday. Big boy decisions.
Yeah, I don't want to see a five stacked midfield because he was too scared to drop people, and then McTominay, Fred,
Like
Matic,
if Pogba didn't start on
Bruno
Friday and he started the Matic, Fred, and Bruno, and he told Pogba, earn your spot in the team, I'd be like, fair enough. And it's like what Mark Goldbridge also said, that it's a good sign from the team, and it shows that how United fans have also changed. That we're not saying that Paul Pogba mustn't be in the team because there's a virus. It's because we're saying he's not in the team because he needs to earn it.
Yeah, he shouldn't get preferential treatment just because of his name and an accolade that ultimately isn't his but belongs to his country as a whole. You know, because people want to bring up the World Cup all the time, but they don't talk about the fact that he had Kante next to him, and Griezmann ahead of him, and all the other amazing French players. But I digress. I wanted to say, just to finish off, and I'll go first. But firstly, what are your predictions on how the season is going to end as a whole? Bar Liverpool and Man City, obviously. I think that everything that everybody thought was going to happen before lockdown is not going to happen now, because I think it's impossible to predict what injuries are going to happen and how those injuries are going to affect the respective teams. I think because of the social distancing training regulations and the fact that the proper full contact training started so late means that a lot of teams are going to be at a massive disadvantage and aren't going to have their tactics sorted out, their playing style sorted out. And even if they do, will it be enough? Because you still need to, be fit to play certain playing styles. Like for example, Liverpool, right? We obviously know they're going to win the league unless they bottle it somehow by some miracle. But let's just say there was another team playing an intense playing style like Liverpool. How do you coach a team and get a team into the match condition that they need to be in to play that sort of intensive playing style when you've only had in some cases one preseason friendly, and it wasn't even a full match? It was just 1 hour. Because training is good and running on the treadmill is good and doing push-ups and pulling the rope in the gym is good, but it's not enough. It's nowhere near enough what you need to be match ready for a Premier League match. And if you want proof of that, look at the amount of injuries we picked up in the middle of a normal Premier League season. So I don't know. I think everything that everybody thinks is going to happen it's just not going to play out the way it does. The only thing that is easily predictable is Arsenal are going to get battered 5-0 by Manchester City. You can believe that. And Arsenal are not coming anywhere near top 6, let alone... Actually, no, they're not coming anywhere near top 7, let alone top 4. They're not coming anywhere near top 7. Arsenal are going to get battered, fam. And I'm going to enjoy watching Arsenal get battered. I might just watch every Arsenal game just to have a laugh and make myself feel better if Ollie somehow screws this up.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think?
I think United will get third. I think Leicester will drop off. I think Chelsea will be fourth. I think Spurs will get better, but not good enough to get the top 4. And Arsenal won't get anywhere near close to us.
What about Sheffield?
Yeah. I think Sheffield will drop off also.
Yeah. I
think Sheffield. I think the lockdown did Sheffield badly, but and they've got 2 games I think for this game week, so we have to see.
I think Marcus is right when he says teams that play an intense playing style will struggle. I don't think Man City will thrash Arsenal for that. I think they'll win, but I think it'll be a bit of a closer game. Sheffield will definitely drop off because they play a rather intense playing style. Wolves will drop off. Leicester and Chelsea will definitely drop off. I'm just not sure who's going to jump out of the top four between them two.
I
don't
think
know. My heart's
this is an unpopular.
Yeah.
This might be an unpopular opinion. Sorry for cutting you off, by the way, but I think Chelsea are going to end fifth. Leicester are going to end fourth. We're going to be third. Sheffield United will be sixth. Spurs will drop to seventh. Arsenal will finish ninth, and I forgot who's eighth at the moment, but they will stay wherever they are, I guess. That's how I predict the top nine. And I don't know how to predict the relegation race because it's a madness thing, Pam. Watford have got themselves into a good position after looking like they were going to get relegated early on in the season. I think if Watford do survive the season, they'll be hanging on by a fingernail. You know, then wait there, fam, when you're about to fall off a building, but the only thing that's holding you is your finger, like literally the tip of your finger. That's how I think Watford are going to survive the relegation race. But yeah, you can go on.
Mm-hmm. And I agree. I think third and fourth will probably be between Leicester and United, because I just think Leicester have a more complete team than Chelsea, and it'll depend. If they hit the ground running, they'll finish third. If they don't, I think they'll drop down to fourth. Chelsea they have a good playing style, they have good players, but too many holes.
Too many holes, bro.
The relegation battle is actually ridiculous. Like, I think Norwich and Villa will definitely get relegated, but then, you know, the three above them for that last spot, Bournemouth, Watford, West Ham, they're all on equal points, so it can be any one of them.
The relegation battle will be exciting.
The relegation battle's going down. It's going down.
I am going to get a little bit toxic and say I want West Ham to go, and I'll explain why. And this is probably because of a video I watched. So this is not my original opinion. I am stealing somebody else's creative idea, I guess, if you want to call it that. But I've watched West Ham I don't watch every West Ham game, obviously, and I don't watch that much of West Ham at all, but I've watched them move up and down the table over the last few years. And I just think back to the time when West Ham had Dimitri Payet, and everyone was like, wow, West Ham are actually good, you know. They might be the next Tottenham, you know. They might be that team that's just on the cusp of getting into a title race, that's just on the cusp of staying into European football. And then they somehow bottled it. And you look at the managers they've hired, the managers they've fired, and in some cases rehired, and you just scratch your head and think, what's going on at this club? Like, they've got a big stadium, they've spent a lot of money for a club of their stature, and they've got some pretty questionable managers, but whatever you think of those managers, they are managers who managed other big clubs. Example, David Moyes. He was at Everton, he did well at Everton, he came to United, and then he went to West Ham. And then I think he got fired and rehired at West Ham, if I'm not mistaken.
Which I don't understand that decision. Look,
Yeah. You just scratch your head. And sorry, but I just want to finish off. Of those three teams, look, I like Bournemouth. I don't know why, but I have this sentimental energy towards Bournemouth because they're that small team that plays nice football at times, and I just feel sorry for them, you know. And then you look at Watford, and I respect what Watford have done because they not only beat Liverpool, but they beat us last year, and Watford embodies the mid-table Premier League side, in my opinion. They play with grit, determination. They do whatever they have to do to stay up. They switch formations when they need to. They play that scruffy football you need to
4-4-2
to stay up. 4-4-2, Baba.
I'd say this.
Scrappy. And then
I'd
with
say the
West Ham,
same about Villa for me. Forever, Villa has been like my low side team. You know, Grealish. Even when Ashley Young was back then, there's something always about Villa that I always loved, and I don't like seeing them go down. I love watching Villa play.
I just think that's because of Jack Grealish.
No, it's not, because even when Ashley Young was back then, I used to like Villa, and even I remember fond memories of getting Aston Villa match attacks. Even post Ashley Young, I just used to get excited. Maybe it was the kids or something when I was younger, but I do like Aston Villa.
They're a nice team. I like it.
Yeah, I've got no problems with Villa, but then we moved to West Ham. I don't like West Ham anymore. They're annoying me. They have what I like to call big club energy, but no results. They're another Arsenal to me.
You know what is the West Ham? They're like Everton. They had Big Sam for so long, and he played a very negative playing style. Parked the bus, got the job done, kept them in mid-table. But one day decided that they want to bridge that gap. They wanted to be a big team. And that brought a lot of problems. A lot of manager switching, A lot of trying to bring good players here and there who don't like. They're trying to play a fancy style, but it's not really come together because under Big Sam it was quite simple. It's park the bus and counter. So now they're just trying to find themselves. It's not really working, and they don't have the money that Leicester have. And for Leicester, it's very easy. Just go and spend and just get the job done. So they're just caught in the middle there, not knowing what they are, much like Everton.
And it doesn't help when teams like Liverpool, Man City have raised the standards of Premier League football. I think West Ham couldn't have timed their rise to become a big club any worse than they did because of the competition. I mean, yeah, Tottenham starting to become a big club. Nowadays, you have Sheffield in the conversation for one of the top 4 teams in the Premier League on form. Yeah, you have Wolves, who are really annoying side. They're a really annoying side. The Wolves are what West Ham
new
were
Mourinho.
when they had to
I feel like they're a new Mourinho also.
Yeah, so I just think with West Ham proves a theory or hypothesis that all my close friends know that I've always had about teams being successful in sports like football, where money is such a big part. You can have money, you can have all the money in the world, but ultimately, if you don't have the right director of football, the right coach, the right coaching staff, the right players in the right positions at the right times in their career, and spend money in the right places and get the decisions pinpoint perfectly, and get a bit of luck, you're not going to break through and become a big team, because that's how fragile success is in football, long term at least. And if you want evidence of this, there's vast examples. Like Leicester when they won the title compared to Leicester the 3 years after they had won the title, and then Leicester to now. They've done things so differently now, but ultimately, who would you say, which Leicester side would you say is better, the one now or the one that won the title? Most people would say the one that won the title, but long term, it's probably the one now, because the one that won the title was just I don't want to call it a fluke because that undermines how well they played, but it was a very lucky set of circumstances, because that Leicester team would not have played like that against the Liverpool today and the Man City today. Man City today and Liverpool today would have broken them down easily. And that's the luck part of it. Manchester City and Liverpool weren't there when Leicester did what they did, and their playing style happened to work against every other team. Same thing with Chelsea, except Chelsea seemed to have a way of replicating their success formula. When they had Conte's tactics seemed to work against every single team, and he never needed to change his formation or his playing style once. It just seemed to work every single game, week in, week out, and he won the title. And then you move to a team like West Ham, and it's like they never got it right. Even when West Ham was good, they just weren't good enough, Even when they were at their best, they just weren't good enough. And it just shows how fragile success and failure can be. And I think that fragility is going to grow exponentially in the next 9 games because of the fitness. And we'll just have to see what teams are going to be able to do. I will end off the show on this, though. It's going to be an exciting 9 games, because this is basically a mini season. You can think of this as like a super season. It's almost like the managers or people like Ed Woodward, who are in positions of power at clubs, are playing the best game of Football Manager in their life. They just, I don't know how Football Manager works, but I know there's some manager games out there that give you a scenario. Like instead of starting at the beginning of the season and setting up the team, they'll just throw you in to a season and you have to like rescue a club. One of those simulator type games. That's what this feels like to me. And we'll just have to see who can come out on top and play and just get the decisions right. So I'm very excited for that. But yeah, I think that about wraps up the show, unless there's anything else you guys want to say. I'm guessing not.
City are going to win the league.
Up the boys, United!
Okay, I didn't want to extend this any further, but I do have to say, there's a part of me that wishes Liverpool somehow bottom.
Well, of course, you'd not be a United fan if you did not wish Liverpool somehow bottom.
And you know what's funny? If Liverpool win their first game back, they have to clutch the title against Crystal Palace. Make your own mind up. If you're a superstitious person like I am, you'll know what that means.
And in other news, Van Dijk is injured.
Oh no, what's that? Henderson slipped. Oh no. But anyways, see you all in the next video. Please don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to consider subscribing if you're new. And I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll catch you in the next one, people. We've dragged this one on for too long. Let us know what your predictions are in the comments down below, whether that be the United and Tottenham game, whether it be the games that are on today. that are premiering today, whether it be in general, your top 4 predictions, whatever it is, just engage with us in the comments. We really appreciate it. It helps the channel grow, all that good stuff. But goodbye for now.